Chapter 22. Direct and Indirect Speech. Direct speech, quoted speech, and indirect speech, reported speech, are the two ways to report what someone else has said. In direct speech, we repeat the exact words spoken by someone with the quotation marks. In indirect speech, we do not use exactly the same words that someone has said. We do not use quotation marks in indirect speech, but we have to make changes to the pronoun and tense in the reported speech. Direct speech, or quoted speech. Direct speech is using the actual words that someone has said. We do not make changes to the quotation marks. We use them to enclose the spoken words, that is, we place the quotation marks at the beginning and end of the words. Be careful. Keep your eyes open. See where you are going, she said. This is the direct speech. We merely repeat the exact words used by the speaker and keep the exact words within quotation marks. The direct speech can come at the beginning before the reporting verb, at the end after the reporting verb, or be broken up and the reporting verb comes in the middle. The reporting verb is a verb that expresses the action of speaking. Example, he said, inside quotation marks. Be careful. Keep your eyes open. See where you are going, she said. She said, be careful. Keep your eyes open. See where you are going. Be careful. She said, keep your eyes open. See where you are going. Indirect speech or reported speech. We use our own words to report what someone has said without using quotation marks. We change the tense, but not always, in the reported speech because the spoken words already occur in the past by the time we report them. We make other changes as well. Direct speech. Indirect speech. Follow me, she told him. She told him to follow her. I am leaving my husband, she said. She said that she was leaving her husband. He said, stop humming the national anthem. He told me to stop humming the national anthem. The above table shows the past tense used in the indirect speech. In most cases, the tense used in indirect speech follows the tense of the reporting verb. As all the reporting verbs, told, said, are in the past tense, so the words in the indirect speech are also in the past tense. We repeat the pronouns, she, he, because no changes are required. Changing direct speech to indirect speech. When we change direct to indirect speech, we usually change the tense of the verbs from the present forms to the past forms. The pronouns are affected too. Tense of the verbs from the present forms to the past forms. Simple present. Simple past. I am homesick. She told me that she was homesick. Present continuous. Past continuous. I'm enjoying myself. He told us he was enjoying himself. Present perfect. Past perfect. I have taken many photos. She said that she had taken many photos. Present perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous. I have been having a wonderful time. He said that he had been having a wonderful time. Simple past. Past perfect. I ate the whole piece. He said that he had eaten the whole piece. Past continuous. Past perfect continuous. I was dreaming about you. She told him she had been dreaming about him. Simple future. Future in the past. I shall never forget you. He told me that he would never forget me. Pronouns from first and second persons to third person. Direct speech, first or second person. Indirect speech, third person. I have cut my finger. He said that he had cut his finger. You have to get ready to leave. He told them that they had to get ready to leave. Sometimes, the direct speech that we want to report comes in more than one sentence. Examples. Direct. Don't fight with your sister, my mother said. Get on with your school homework. Indirect. My mother told me not to fight with my sister and to get on with my school homework. Direct. Be quiet. I'm watching television. Indirect. She told us to be quiet while she was watching television. In most cases, when the reporting verb is in the present or future tense, we do not change the tenses of the verbs in the indirect speech. Examples. Direct. I'm tired, she says almost every evening. Simple present. Indirect. Almost every evening, she says that she is tired. Direct. They are late again, she has already told us. Present perfect. Indirect. She has already told us that they are late again. Direct. I will tell him, the shop closes at 5:30. Simple future. Indirect. I will tell him that the shop closes at 5:30. If in direct speech, a statement is always true or an action is still continuing, we do not change the tense when converting it into indirect speech, as a change of tense might give the wrong meaning. Examples. Direct. He told us, the earth is round. Indirect. He told us that the earth is round. Changes in indirect speech. We make changes in time, places, determiners, etc. when reporting the direct speech. Direct speech. Indirect speech. Now, then, today, that day, tonight, that night, last night, the previous night, the night before, yesterday, the previous day, the day before, tomorrow, the next day, the day after, next week, the following week, here, there, this, or these, that, or those. This, determiner. The. Modal verbs in indirect speech. Direct speech. Indirect speech. Will, would, can, could, may, might, shall, should, must, ought to, used to. Examples. I will be a vegetarian. She said she would be a vegetarian. I can swim like a fish. He said he could swim like a fish. We may start a new religion. They said that they might start a new religion. You shall be judged only by God. They said that I should be judged only by God. You must behave yourself. The teacher told me that I must behave myself. You ought to stop talking to yourself. My mother said I ought to stop talking to myself. If the past form of modal verbs would, could, might and should is used in the direct speech, we do not change them in the indirect speech. Examples. Annie said, I would hate to miss the puppet show tonight. Annie said she would hate to miss the puppet show that night. Joe said, we could go for a drive after lunch tomorrow. Joe suggested that they could go for a drive after lunch the next day. Reporting questions. When a question is reported, it becomes an indirect question. An indirect question does not end with a question mark. It ends with a full stop, period. We do not use quotation marks in indirect questions. Examples. The reporter asked, when is the rain going to stop? The reporter asked the weatherman when the rain was going to stop. We asked her, where were you last Sunday? We asked her where she was the previous Sunday. We often use if in indirect questions. Examples. Do you believe in one God or many gods? They asked if I believe in one God or many gods. Are you sad that you have no friend? My sister asked me if I was sad that I had no friend. We can use whether or not instead of if. Examples. They asked whether I believe in one God or many gods. My sister asked me whether or not I was sad that I had no friend. The present form of modal verbs in direct speech takes the past form in indirect speech. Examples. She asked, "Can you burn these things for me now?" She asked me if I could burn those things for her then.